Okay, imagine this. You're at a party, it's a little too loud, the air's a bit warm, and you're sort of cornered in the kitchen near the snacks.
The classic party trap.
Totally. You're holding a lukewarm drink, just trying to have a normal conversation. And the person you're talking to seems, perfectly normal on the surface.
Okay, I'm with you. This is a very familiar social contract.
Exactly. But then the conversation just takes this hard left turn. They look you dead in the eye and tell you with total conviction that mirrors aren't glass.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. They tell you they're not physics. They are, in fact, alien technology designed to monitor humanity. And they are not joking.
That is, wow. That's a record scratch moment for sure.
Right. And be honest, what is your immediate instinct? I know mine. It's to fight it. It's to pull out my phone, open a browser and say, look, here's how light reflection works.
You want to bring out the receipts. You want to summon Isaac Newton's ghost.
I do. But they just shake their head. They dig in. They tell you that Wikipedia is exactly what the aliens want you to believe.
And just like that, you are trapped. You're in conversational quicksand.
Exactly. You are stuck in a conversation where facts have completely left the building. They pack their bags and move to a different zip code. So the question we're tackling today is, what do you do?
Right. Do you fight? Do you walk away?
Or is there a third option, a better way?
And that third option is exactly why today's deep dive is so fascinating. We are not looking at sources about physics, thankfully, and definitely not the alien mirror supply chain.
Yeah.
We're looking at a dialogue, a really amazing exchange that breaks down the psychology of conflict, the hidden cost of always needing to be right, and a genuinely surprising method to turn a toxic argument into a creative playground.
It's a strategy the source calls strategic surrender,
Yeah.
but it really morphs into something much cooler. It becomes improv theater.
It really does. The whole mission today is to show you how to move from what the source calls an ego battle, which is where we all live in these arguments, to a shared fantasy.
It's about totally rewiring how we deal with what the source calls clueless people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm using that term specifically because that's how the source frames it.
Let's get into that, because that feeling is universal. You're talking to someone and they are just wrong.
And not just a little wrong, aggressively wrong. The source material describes it so well. It says, some people are just clueless. They will fight with you about their argument. And they won't stop, even if they speak nonsense, just to win.
That phrase, just to win, that's the key. That's your big red flag.
It is. That's the moment you realize this isn't about truth anymore. It's about victory. And the source says at that exact moment, the best thing you can do, the absolute best move, is to look at them and say 3 little words.
Yes, you are right.
Yes, you are right. And then you move on.
No, I can almost hear people pausing right now. I can feel the resistance. It feels so counterintuitive, doesn't it? Like, it feels like lying.
Completely. Our brains are wired to correct errors. We see a crooked picture on the wall. We have to fix it. It feels like a biological imperative.
If I let them believe mirrors are alien tech, have I failed the human race?
Have I let down all of science? But here is where the source gets really smart. It argues that when a conversation turns into defending nonsense at all costs, it's not a discussion about facts anymore.
It has transformed.
It has become an ego battle.
An ego battle. That just feels so accurate. It's not about mirrors anymore. It's about dominance. It's who's the alpha in the kitchen.
Precisely. And the source makes a really profound point. It says, sometimes the most intelligent move is exactly what you said. Yeah, you're right. But, and this is the critical part, you're not saying it because they are factually correct.
You're not validating the alien theory.
No. You're saying it because, and I'm quoting here, your time, energy, and peace of mind are worth more than proving it.
I love that framing. It turns it into an economic decision. It's just resource management.
You have a limited budget of mental energy for the day. Do you really want to spend 80% of it on the alien mirror guy?
Exactly. The source asks you to value your own serenity. It talks about the quiet wisdom in choosing peace over being correct.
Think about the alternative. Let's play it out. You spend the next 45 minutes getting frustrated, your blood pressure is rising, you're pulling up articles they won't even look at. What have you actually gained?
A headache.
A headache. And a reputation as that intense person who yelled about light refraction near the guacamole.
Right. You've lost the evening. Whereas you're right, it is a release valve. It just ends the battle instantly. The source frames it almost like a martial arts move. You just step out of the way of the punch.
You win by refusing to play their game.
But I know what people are thinking. Isn't that just giving up? Isn't that letting the Dumbos, as the source calls them, win?
And it does use that word dumbos. It says, I think that it's better to let dumbos be dumbos if they are arguing about things that harm no one.
And that criterion of harm is the filter. That's the safety rail you have to hold on to.
Okay, so we're not talking about letting someone drive a car blindfolded because they believe they have echolocation.
Exactly not, no. We are talking about harmless delusions. The source says if someone's beliefs only affect their own little fantasy world, correcting them isn't a moral duty. It's just optional mental labor.
Optional mental labor. I want that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I feel like I perform so much optional mental labor every single day.
It's a brilliant way to frame it, isn't it? It implies you're working overtime for a job you never even applied for.
Yeah. The source lists examples, pigeons are government drones, the moon is a hologram.
Or mirrors are alien tech. In that moment, who is actually getting hurt?
Well, the pigeons, maybe. Their reputation's taking a hit, they're just trying to eat crumbs, and now they're accused of espionage.
The pigeons will survive the slander. But the point is, if it's just noise, why engage? The source says you do not have a moral duty to be the reality police.
The reality police. I think a lot of us have an honorary badge for that force.
We really do.
We feel like if we let one wrong fact slide, reality itself would just crumble.
But it won't. And that's the hard pill to swallow. Intelligence isn't just knowing facts, it's choosing your battles. If you're arresting everyone who thinks the moon is a hologram, you're going to spend your whole life filling out paperwork in the precinct of nonsense.
And that paperwork is exhausting. So step one is the pivot. You drop the badge, you say, you're right. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. The source doesn't just say walk away. It says you can stay and have fun with it.
This is my favorite part of this whole thing. This is the pivot from just avoidance to engagement, but on your own terms.
The source uses this wild phrase, sharpen their blade.
Which is so aggressive, right? Like you're helping your opponent.
It does. But the context is hilarious. It means instead of blocking their nonsense, you help them make it even crazier. You help them get to completely otherworldly ideas.
You are turning a debate into improv theater.
Improv theater, like the classic yes and rule.
Exactly that. In improv, if your scene partner says, look, an elephant, you never say, that's not an elephant, it's a chair. That kills the scene. You say, yes, and he looks hungry.
You accept the premise, and you build on it.
So if they say mirrors are alien tech, you don't say, no, they're not. You say, oh, absolutely. And then you gently nudge the story forward.
The source has this amazing example. It says, if mirrors are alien tech, you ask them. Interesting.
Yeah.
So is toothpaste a mind control gel or just a side effect of the lunar transmitters?
It's brilliant. Just look at what that does to the dynamic. A minute ago, you were opponents. Now you're co-authors. You're leaning into the absurd. You're asking for the lore.
You're writing a sci-fi novel in real time. But isn't there a risk they'll think you're mocking them?
That's a fair point, and the tone has to be right. It can't be sarcastic or sneering. You have to sound genuinely curious about the internal logic of their world.
So it's a playful curiosity.
Right. And the source suggests they usually just go with it. They're so used to being fought that when someone actually listens and asks a follow-up question, they just light up.
And notice the power shift. You're not frustrated anymore. You're entertained. You're seeing how deep the rabbit hole goes.
The source calls it world building, with very enthusiastic but very confused co-writers.
That is just a perfect description. And you're transforming a battle to death into a shared fantasy.
Think about the emotional difference. Clashing swords is exhausting. It leaves you drained. But building dragons together, as the source puts it, that's creative.
That's bonding. Even if the foundation is nonsense, the act of building it together creates a weird kind of connection.
There are no winners or losers, just, imagination bouncing back and forth.
So we have the pivot, you're right, and we have the improv, sharpening the blade. But the source material goes even deeper. It introduces this beautiful metaphor of parallel rivers.
Yes. This is the structural way to understand what's happening. It's not just a party trick. It's a whole worldview. The source asks you to imagine two rivers flowing side by side.
Okay, I'm visualizing it.
One river flows down. The other river, it flows up.
Which is impossible. Physics would have a complete meltdown.
Right. But in the world of human perception, it happens all the time. Your reality flows one way based on science, logic. Theirs is going the opposite direction based on, well, whatever it's based on.
Yeah, the key insight from the source is they do not need to merge for both to exist.
That's the light bulb moment, isn't it? We operate on this assumption that we all have to be in the same river. If I'm flowing down, you must flow down with me.
We try to force people to swim upstream into our reality. We're on the bank yelling, "Come over here, the water is flowing this way."
But the source suggests a more subtle wisdom. You keep your perspective, they keep theirs.
Yeah,
You let the rivers flow parallel.
but you don't just ignore each other, because that's just isolation.
No, not at all. Every now and then, you build a little bridge of shared imagination. You cross over, you explore a weird what if together, and then, this is the important part, you go back to your own current.
You visit their reality, you don't move in.
Exactly. It's far more peaceful. Live, let live, and enjoy the weird worlds people bring along.
Enjoy the weird worlds. I like that. It takes the judgment out of it. Instead of seeing it as stupid, you see it as a tourist destination. You ask, so in this world where the moon is a hologram, who pays the electric bill?
Chuckles. Exactly. And that question is a bridge.
And speaking of bridges, the source material actually does this.
Yeah.
Speakers in the text, they decide to try this world-building exercise right there in the dialogue.
Yes, and this part is crucial because it shows us how to do it. It's one thing to say just play, but this is the instruction manual.
This is the Magma River experiment.
So the setup is simple. One person says basically, okay, my river flows down, yours flows up. What if an ordinary river just turned into magma?
Which, again, thermodynamics says no, physics has left the chat.
Physics is taking a long lunch break, and they start describing it. They don't just say it's hot. They get into the ecology of it.
Right. They paint this picture. The water temperature rises. Rocks at the bottom start to crack from the heat. Steam rises off the surface. The color shifts to that glowing red-orange.
And then they ask the key question, what happens to the fish? Because a realist says they're boiled instantly. End of story.
Which is a very boring story.
Very boring. So this is where the shared fantasy kicks in. One of them suggests the fish mutate. They evolve on the spot into tiny fire-resistant critters.
Or they flee upstream, they pack their little fish suitcases, and the trees on the banks.
Charred instantly. They drift like kindling down this molten river.
It's so vivid. And then they talk about travel. You can't use a canoe. You'd need magical boots or just a really strong imagination to surf it.
And notice what's happening. They're discussing something that violates every law of nature. But are they arguing?
No. They're riffing, they're laughing, they're building on each other's ideas.
They are connecting. And the source calls that a secret handshake.
A secret handshake. That's good. It implies a bond that only the two of you share.
It is a memory that exists only because you both agreed to let go of reality for a moment. If you had stopped at the start and said, that's impossible, rivers can't do that, you would have been correct. You would have been the smart one.
But you would have missed the fire-resistant fish.
You would have missed the connection. You would have missed the fun. And this is what the source really drives home. That ability to pause physics and say, sure, let's play, is a higher form of intelligence.
It requires a certain confidence, though.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be secure enough in your own reality to step out of it for a little while.
It does. It requires you to check your ego at the door. You're not trying to be the smartest person in the room anymore. You're trying to be the most creative.
And the payoff is peace. And dragons.
And dragons. Always dragons.
So let's recap where we've been. We started with the frustration of that argument, the alien mirrors, the government pigeons. We realized fighting that is just a waste of optional mental labor.
We learned the pivot. Yes, you are right. Not as a defeat, but as a strategic move to protect your own peace of mind.
Then we moved into improv theater, sharpening their blade, asking if the toothpaste is mind control. We learned to say yes and to the absurdity.
We visualize the parallel rivers, understanding that we don't have to force everyone into our current. We can build bridges instead.
And finally, we surfed the magma river. We saw how letting go of the facts allowed for a secret handshake, a shared memory that brings people closer than being right ever could.
It's a complete reframe. It changes the goal from winning to connecting.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, next time you're cornered by someone who tells you the earth is flat, or that clouds are actually cotton candy factories.
I haven't heard that one, but I like it. I want to live in that world.
Me too. But when you hear that, you know what to do. Don't pull up Wikipedia. Don't get angry.
Ask them what flavor the cotton candy is. Is it blue raspberry?
Exactly. Ask about the distribution network. How do they get the sugar up there? Does the rain get sticky?
Lean in. Because the goal isn't to win the argument. The goal is to survive the interaction with your sanity intact. And maybe, just maybe, have a little fun.
It's about realizing that sometimes being right is boring and a little lonely, and being wrong together can be an adventure.
Well said. Being right keeps you safe, but being playful keeps you connected.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. We often define our relationships by the things we agree on. But based on today's deep dive, I want you to ask yourself this. If you stopped trying to force everyone into your river of reality, what kind of dragons or magma rivers could you build with the people you usually disagree with?
That is the real challenge, isn't it?
What kind of wild, impossible stories are you missing out on just because you're too busy being right? Maybe the person you think is clueless is actually holding the keys to the most interesting story you'll hear all week if you just stop correcting them and start writing with them.
That's a question worth asking.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. Go out there and find some aliens.
See you next time.